Hey, hey! Good morning.
Hey, good morning. Good morning.
Morning, everybody.
Ella, what's up?
It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood.
Right on.
Won't you be mine?
That's right.
My neighbor.
That's right.
Mr. Rogers callback. Classic.
You all know today's Friday the 13th, right?
Ooh.
Yep.
Well, 13 is my lucky number, so.
Yeah, it is.
All right, y'all want to talk about 13? All right. I lived up in Dayton, Ohio. My apartment number was 613. All right, I moved back. Yeah, I moved back to Bowling Green because my mom was getting sick, and got another apartment, and it was 1329.
Wow.
And the house that I'm living in now, it's 1340.
Woo.
Whoa.
Cannot get away from that dang on 13.
I guess not. Should play the lottery. Put 13 down.
Really?
I think somebody won it in California, the big one, for 1.7 billion.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That's what I heard.
And they got taxed heavy, too.
Oh, yeah.
You know. Rigged. Rigged. That's what it is. It's rigged.
Yeah, I don't know. That's not rigged, but.
Prime, hello.
All right.
James, hello. Mrs. Hillbilly, hello. Hello to everybody.
Oh, we have a Mrs. Hillbilly in here today?
Yeah, she's in chat.
Oh, hello, Mrs. Hillbilly.
Yeah, she's usually the first to make a comment in the chat box. She's like,
First.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh, somebody's driving somewhere.
Nope, I'm going to go sit in the car because, one, my coffee's in here.
Yeah, okay, that's a good reason.
And two, my music was still playing in my car. And three, it's really loud in my house, in my dad's house. I'm just dropping my my daughter off to my dad's because we have a wedding to go to today. And as I was driving up the street, I looked at the time and I was like, it's 11:52. Oh, by the time I get to the house, I can stream with these guys. Oh yeah! And then they went up and did the makeup, and I'm here streaming with you guys. Hey, hi Chad. I missed you guys so much. The few days that my internet's garbage at home. Thank you for anybody who did join. Yeah. Yeah. Mwah. You guys are amazing. I missed you guys so much.
Oh, well, thank you, man.
I'm going to a wedding today too. Mrs. Hillbilly says, "Hi, Ella."
Ooh, hi.
Because Ella cool. You know what I'm saying?
I love that one.
Ella cool. There you go.
Yeah. Oh, look, we got another person jumping in.
Oh.
Ooh. Let's go. Hello, Robert.
Good morning, everybody. How are we?
Good morning. Oh, pretty good.
Morning.
Oh, look. I even got notes written down for today's episode because I was so inspired last night. Because last night we were on DJ's stream and we got back into the talking about Wizards is killing the company, killing the game, and all that jazz. You know, and my brain got firing on all cylinders and thinking on all realms of aspects because my brain, in a weird way, likes to think of a basketball when it comes to how I think. Like you think of a basketball and you think of a light hitting that basketball, right? And there's one side of the basketball that's light. There's one basketball that's shaded. And my brain tries to think of both sides of the basketball. You know, how does the whole basketball look? Then and how does it interact in the game? BS, bipolar stuff, all that jazz. And last night's conversation was pretty decent. I think it was one of our best variations of that conversation we could have. But I think we're looking at just blaming WOTC for what's going on is foolish. Now, I'm not saying WOTC can't be held accountable for what they're doing and how they're treating things, but I think just to think that WOTC and blame only WOTC is the right course to go. because WOTC wouldn't be doing WOTC things if they weren't making money.
Yeah,
if their strategy wasn't working, why would they beat a path like that? So
if they're making money, that's their goal. I mean, they got to make a profit, right? They put cards and other things, and they make a profit, and I guess they make a strong profit, so they feel they can just do what they want and not really think about their customers.
Yeah, I think they think about their customers more than their customers give them credit for, because they're always pumping out stuff they know people want, even if it feels exasperated. Does that make sense? Like, doubling season being hit 3 different times, 3 different reprints. They know the players want it. They're pushing it out, and because of it, it's dropping the price.
Well,
I can afford it now.
Yeah.
Well, it's like this. What you want is not what I want.
Mm-hmm.
And WOTC cannot please both of us.
Oh, yeah. All
And
right.
people, when then that would make, like, let's say, what you want, you want.
I don't know. I don't think that's. I mean, they do more. They have a larger form that they print out, so they print out something for you, and they print out something for somebody else. Maybe not at the same time, but I really don't know. I mean, I just heard of this company, about a month ago. So, but it's an interesting topic. I mean, you guys know what's what. And
so, but what it boils down to is what, like I was trying to say, what Tortoise wants is not what I want. Therefore, they print for Tortoise, then I have something to blame WOTC for making it. And that's basically what it boils down to, I think.
Really
I shouldn't be blaming them.
It's not always WOTC necessarily. There is still over and above WOTC that does come down.
Yeah.
Because if we remember about the other WOTC dilemma that just happened recently, that OGL, the open game license for D&D, a lot of that was not WOTC. That was that was Hasbro, which owns WOTC.
Right. Right.
So, and to the not everything, we were talking. I jumped into Magic the Gathering because I saw Lord of the Rings and I saw Doctor Who. Those 2 reasons, and I'm like, oh, what's the rest of this nonsense? Whatever. I want Lord of the Rings. Okay, cool. The rest of this game's really cool. I guess I'm gonna stick around. I guess I can't do a full Lord of the Rings deck. I can do a full Lord of the Rings deck, but you know what I mean. Like those. Some people are going to look at that Lord of the Rings and the Doctor Who stuff and snuff their nose so hard, and that's valid because that's not what you like to play. You want Kamigawa, or you want Dominaria, or you want Phyrexia. You want this world's, not somebody else's IP, which is okay. Sometimes I like, my brain goes, Transformers? What the hell are Transformers doing in Magic the Gathering? Right. Well, okay, I can see Lord of the Rings, and I can definitely see Time Lords, Doctor Who, but my brain can't process, Autobots transform in this world. I can see all of Lord of the Rings in this world. I can see they can have their own plane, and my brain accepts it. But just the robots, my brain doesn't quite accept that. Plus, there's a few other things that my brain just doesn't accept in this world anyways. You know what I mean? That is WOTC stuff.
Right. All right. So I want to get to define the topic. And there's a specific reason why. Because, well, let's just get you to define the topic. Okay, Rhett, define the topic. The topic today is it's foolish to just blame WOTC for the secondary market price drops. All right. The reason why I want to define the topic in such a way is because there's enough trash being thrown at WOTC, and some of it's rightfully so, and some of it's just arrogant, right? But to twist the brains, and I know today we're going to probably upset some people and step on some toes, but I want us to try to focus on other reasons outside of why the price crashes would drop. And like I said before the show, I got notes. And that's important because I think there's a lot that we're taking in for it. We're thinking a lot on a biased note, especially like the older collectors, the people who want to invest. Magic's not for them anymore. It's ridiculous. Like, for example, and what I'm talking about, people are complaining about there's no collectability in Magic anymore, right? But then people are now complaining that they undersold Doctor Who. Like, there's like, no, they're sold underprinted Doctor Who. There's not enough decks out there. Well, you know what just happened? Doctor Who just became more collectible. I want to think of things like that. I want to try to bend the thought process to be like, oh, what's going on the other end? What's going on the buyer end, the collector's end? Let's take a step back from blaming WOTC and not take away the faults of WOTC, but let's try to get to the different angle, the other side of it, because I think the intelligent, rational thing to do is to try to look at things from both ends. And there's enough content out there blaming WOTC, but WOTC can't be the only person to blame here, so to say. And with that, let's discuss the topic. Oh, woo! James Willis says he wants GoBots. Madam Monk says, really? Doctor Who is causing me trouble. Nice.
Wow.
What do you mean by that, Madam Monk? All right. Welcome, everybody in chat once again. Thank you for dropping by, liking the stream. Thank you for subscribing, you new subscribers. Thank you for being amazing. If you haven't hit that like button, do so. That helps out the live a lot. It helps out the channel a lot. Your interaction is 100% appreciated and amazing. All right. I want to open up this discussion by saying a lot of people are complaining about Wizards of the Coast and how they're ruining the game, oversaturating the market. They're overprinting new cards, and at the same time, they're reprinting reprints. Like they're adding so much money to the market. And on the same note, Wizards keep showing us sales, and I'd love to see this change if what everybody's talking about is true, where their sales are exceeding their expectations or they're meeting their expectations. They're hitting their goals, right? So WOTC can't solely be blamed for all this issue if they're continuing making money. It ain't a problem for them. That's all I'm saying. James Willis, I want unlimited reprint. There, I said it. I mean, I know what will anger a lot of people. So, as the new player base grows and WOTC having to keep up with the demand, there's a lot going on in the background, and that's kind of what I want to cover. Like, there's a lot of new players coming in the games, and every time they do new IPs, like say Lord of the Rings, some people will jump in the game because Lord of the Rings. Ella even just mentioned that. Same with Doctor Who. Transformers was weird, but I loved it because it's Transformers. They're going to Jurassic Park, which I totally loved that idea. I think the people who are having the biggest conniption about this, and not saying there's not a lot of other people who are having a conniption about this, but a lot of the people who are having a big conniption about this are the older collectors, the older players, and the people complaining, this game's not making me money anymore. Like, yep. There, I said it.
Yep, fully agree.
Well, They got to understand this is not Magic is not meant for money. It's a game. It's meant to play.
Well, that's not fully true. Because if it's not if it was not meant to make money, then it wouldn't be as successful as it is. Plus, local game stores having to sell the product have to make their money back to sell it.
Yes.
All right. Here's what I want to get into. No one's talking about this. The only person who's actually brought this up is someone who's like probably the furthest away from Magic from the people who talk about this crap. During COVID times, during C19 or C20, whatever C you want to put in it, there was an explosion. An explosion when we were getting those fancy paychecks from the government. Those we call them recession checks.
Stimulus.
What? Stimulus. The stimulus checks, the stimulus packages. A lot of people, instead of just buying Magic product, a lot of people said this is a good time to start my own business. A lot of eBayers did it. I did it with eBay. Other people did it with Magic cards. And one of the biggest problems I see, and no one's addressing, because they keep talking about the secondary market's hindering, but the secondary market, it grew. Right? Now, I'm gonna put a little number to this, only so you can see how big the effect is when you apply it to bigger numbers. Right? So say there are 100 people in the Magic the Gathering fan base, in the player base, right? And out of those 100 people, 75% of those people were collectors, resellers, and people who sold merch. Well, Wizards of the Coast is selling to 100 people. Then the people who are reselling are buying fresh product. People who are collecting are buying fresh product, and the trade value kind of hinders. Now, the trade value kind of hinders until the demand for cards increases. So you get more new players in. So you got like 100 people in the game that grows to 200, and Wizards only printing for 100. The demand for cards gets higher. Then 300, 400. The demand gets higher and higher for cards. But what happens if the collector, reseller, and flipper base grows beyond that? Because one thing I saw an explosion is everybody, their cat, their dog are selling cards online via TCG Player, via Card Kingdom, via eBay, via whatnot. People are selling product online from sealed packs to singles. So not only was there an explosion for WOTC to see all the fresh product get bought out and stuff, and they see this expansion player base. Now, since this black swan event, as someone in the community calls it, of Wizards seeing this explosion in product sales, the market for selling secondarily on the secondary market has exploded in numbers too. So not only can you just find like 10, 15 copies of, let's just say, Emrakul the Aeon's Torn, now you can find bunches of copies everywhere. Where one time it was harder to find this because people just had all this stuff in their collection. Learned that through time and process and thought that they can start making a business on the side, floating their Magic cards and selling them instead of just trading them, because it's sometimes better just get the money, ship it out. Get the money, ship it out. The whole trade market has turned into a seller's market. I mean, people are liquidating parts of their collections. People are selling singles left and right. And on top of this, a lot of people are buying extra product to flip. And so the singles market has grown a lot more vast, a lot more crazy. I can't think of the word I was trying to think of. The singles market is like tripled, quadrupled in size compared to the desire for these cards. And that's where I'm seeing the hindering of prices kind of going down. Now, Wizards getting product bought by these flippers and these resellers, and they're trying to meet the demand because I don't think they separate who's a seller and who's a basic at home seller, I should say, a basic at home seller from a player who buys a new product, right? I mean, if you're a distribution center, you know how much product goes there. If you're an LGS, you know how much product goes there. But since everybody's found this broken system where they can just order a bunch of product from their store, and and their store tells the store tells their distributor, and the distributor tells WOTC, they meet the demand. The demand for new cards grows and stuff. And I'm sorry I've taken so much time because I'm really honing in on a point here. That WOTC is only printing to the demand that they're seeing, and if people are buying more than the demand, the price of singles will exceed the barrier and drop in price. And that's how I'm seeing this. Like, I'm blaming both WOTC for what they're doing, but I'm blaming the secondary market as well.
So, if I can interject, I honestly don't blame WOTC whatsoever in this. WOTC is making money. That's their goal as a company. They're making money. They're providing product that the players want.
Right.
The issue is that the most popular format, the most popular way to play Magic is Commander, which is an eternal format. So you have cards extending from alpha till now that you can use in your decks.
Right.
These cards need reprints because it can't just be the lucky person who happened to be playing at the time, or the person who has the most money can afford these cards. That's always been what WOTC's been against. They state on their, have stated unequivocally that Magic is for everyone, all ages, all income levels, right? So they need to provide the product for us to play. So they need to print the product. So reprints will happen now that Commander is the most popular format. If Legacy was the most popular format 5 years ago, 10 years ago, we'd have been seeing it then as well.
Right.
So I don't blame WOTC for making money. It's the people who I hear complaining the most, like you said, are people who are saying my collection's being devalued, blah, blah, whatever.
Right.
And then there's also the resellers, and I don't want to call them scalpers, but speculators of Magic the Gathering product, the sealed speculators and single speculators, that they're flipping to make money. They're complaining because they're losing their
investment
profit margin.
Right.
So they're losing their profit margins that they had during peak COVID. And now they're upset because profit margins are dropping. Well, that's going to happen.
Right.
WOTC wants that profit margin. They don't want you reselling when they can sell. And so I don't blame a business for making money. I work for a business that relies on making money.
Right. All right. So when I blame WOTC, I'm only blaming them for meeting the demands, because they're very educated. Like what Wizards of the Coast, Hasbro, all that. They're very educated. They do the research. They find out what wants to sell, what needs to sell, and they meet that demand. That's all I'm blaming them for.
Yeah,
I'm not giving them. I'm not, like, if my whole rant that I just had is more about blaming the secondary market for growing, especially on the flipper and reselling market, because honestly, Wizards printed a lot of product before, and like I mentioned last night, probably not as much as the product as they have today, but they've been printing a lot of product before. And then, there were standard sets, there were some ancillary sets, but you get like dual decks and other things like that. But the main people you'd buy from was sometimes your local Walmart, your local game store, or online, and online was kind of scarce back then. But now, like I said, just not too long ago, everybody and their dog is taking their collections and they're putting up on sale on TCG Player, eBay, whatnot, everywhere.
everywhere. Anywhere that someone can sell cards, they're selling cards. And just to bring up a point that people probably aren't remembering or don't think about, there was a point where shock lands were more expensive than revised dual lands. Don't believe me? Look it up. 2012, 2013. Shock lands were more expensive than a revised dual land was because you only played revised duels in Legacy and Vintage. You couldn't play them in Modern. You couldn't play them in Standard. So they didn't have the value. The explosion in value didn't happen until the explosion in Commander.
Right. Oh, yeah. Commander really opened up a lot of things. When Commander first came out, there was a lot of price fluctuation going on. Like when Commander became like the format, because everybody is trying to scramble for the best decks they want to build, for the decks they want to build, how they want to build them. They're looking for the best cards. So cards are going up. In fact, it was bothering me for a bit that I had an eyeball on a card that I was like either saving up money for or waiting to get the chance to buy. And all because of Commander, becoming the premium format, the card went up, and I'm like, God damn, I missed a good card. You know, I missed my ability to get that card. Now, like I said to people, I like my cheap cards, you know, and I understand there's got to be value. There's got to be value somewhere in cards. But like, I'm not like the thing that's changing the most about the values in cards is the way you collect, the way you sell. You know, like even like there's another YouTuber I watch who's starting to complain because the value of cards are slowing down. That is slowing his sales. You know.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's hurting their it's hurting their sales. If they are a seller, I've been saying this for a year and openly on your channel and on DJ's channel for the past few months. That is WOTC's target. Their target is to push the secondary sales down a bit. They're trying to either eliminate or suppress secondary market sales and market manipulation. That's what it comes down to. So how many times have you been affected by market manipulation?
You know, like even on eBay, I've been affected by it. And that's completely different. And I've seen this firsthand. Like you go out in the wild of like Goodwill or find your thrift shops or stuff, and you find an item that's selling for like $500 one day, and I watched it drop to like $300 to $200 or $100, and the price of it. Hey, look, it's Tybalt. Figured you wanted to join in.
What's up, guys? Hey, how's it going?
Good morning.
Pretty good.
Good morning. You picked a hot topic today, man.
I know. I was fired. I was on fire last night. I had trouble sleeping.
Oh, man.
Yeah, Tybalt, I see your comment in there, and you're right. They are printing at an exorbitant rate, but on the other hand, our player base is expanded to an exorbitant high comparatively than what it was, 5-6 years ago, and like 10 years ago, the player base was relatively small. It was minuscule.
Oh yeah.
In comparison, like their per capita net profit 10 years ago was what they're making now in a quarter. So
yeah. There's a couple of things that I think too, though, and these are minor points. Again, generally, I don't talk about this stuff too much, only because I'm not necessarily well enough informed on both ends of it. I know how I feel as a player, and that's really the only thing that I can control. But I also get the feeling, or I've seen, to me, this is just my opinion, but WOTC definitely takes advantage of their player base because a large portion, because this is the collectible nature of the game, I think it draws in a certain type of person. So I'm blaming us. I'm blaming the people that play to an extent. But also there is a addictive nature to the way that these things are set up. There's an addictive nature to the way that they put their cards out and make them rare. It's supposed to be collectible. It's supposed to have certain chase things in there. But when I see them doing things like Secret Lair, where they print they're cherry picking the best of the cards and stuff. Again, they're a business. I understand that. They should be able to make money. But they do control the market to a certain point also, I think. At least that's how I feel.
Right.
And, go ahead.
I was about to say, I fully agree with you. It is, the professor has brought this up, and many other YouTubers have brought this up. It's gambling.
Mhm.
Opening packs is scratching a lottery ticket.
100%. It is gambling.
It's gambling. It's scratching a lotto ticket, and it is predatory to a certain extent. And
it's basically loot boxes. That's what people have contributed to.
Same for baseball cards. Sorry, I had a call coming in.
All right.
Baseball cards were the same way and considered the same for a very long time, that it was gambling and predatory, and they still are. I mean, you have the chase cards, the ultra rare one of ones and things like that in the sports card industry.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah.
What also?
Go ahead.
Sorry. I was just say one other thing that bothers me too about the rate that they're printing. Again, absolutely within their right to make money, to print lots of sets and so on, but they're doing it at such a rate that even when a bad set comes out, like nobody cares because the next set's being hyped.
Mm-hmm.
Already.
Yeah, I
You
know.
know what I mean?
That's
Spoiler
annoying.
season is just like so fast; it's coming at you, and I'm getting cards from just a couple of years ago that I'm seeing for the first time. I never had a chance to play with them. I never got to see the old set. Now I sound like an old fogey that's complaining about, back in my day, but it used to be that way.
I think we all are there, Tibble.
Yeah.
I'm a wholeheartedly agree with you on that one. I'm a brand new player to this game, and I'm like, oh, Lord of the Rings is coming out. Oh, we dropped 2 sets before we dropped. Like, those are 2 big announcements, Lord of the Rings and Doctor Who, when I started, and we've dropped 2 sets in between those 2. What the hell?
Right.
Yes.
Like, I can't focus on any of it.
That's right. Absolutely.
Right. And as a Commander player who's learning to care about every card in the format, which is every card printed, it gets exhausting.
Yeah, sure. It's a breakneck speed, and it is designed, the rate of their printing is designed at this rate for maximal optimization of profit.
Yeah, for sure.
100%. That is what it is. They're designing it at breakneck speed, and it causes you to, the average player, to have FOMO. They want to buy into it while the hype is high, and then they turn around and complain because of the Amazon dumps.
Right.
Because the product is overprinted or underappreciated or whatever. Like Streets of New Capenna. I liked that set a lot.
Mm-hmm.
During pre-release season and during spoiler season. Loved it. Don't love the crime boss syndicates thing going on, crime families crap. But I loved the triomes. I loved the feel of the set. Felt like Ravnica a little bit. I was like, okay, I can dig this, and so I bought a case of draft, a case of set, and a case of collectors.
Right.
And I cracked them all open and just enjoying myself. And now I'm like, oh wow, look, a bundle for $21 on Amazon done.
Right. But that's just you. Like,
can you ship that stuff up here to me, please? Because none of that is under $100 Canadian, which is probably $80 to $90 American. We have such a shit market for quote unquote secondary sales and or resales. It's gross up here.
You're in Canada?
Yeah, I'm your hat. I'm on top. I'm on top.
What is it like? So, imagine you got excited about that, and imagine the resellers and flippers got excited about that. So they bought all that product, opened it up, and threw it on the market as fast as they can to appease the players.
And like you said, as people crack it and resell it, the market values dip. That's what happens if there's a massive amount of product available.
Mm-hmm.
It's basic supply and demand. You have a massive supply, and demand is moderate. Prices drop.
Right. So like we were talking about earlier, because what Tabal was talking about did not negate anything I said. Because I said I throw the only blame I throw at WOTC is meeting the demand. They're going off the sales, right? Like, it's like our perception of things are so used to a old format, and that's what's causing a lot of issues. Because, like, yeah, a lot of people are complaining because it's not making them major money anymore. But
Yep.
WOTC still has not ruined the definition of collectability here.
No.
I've got.
Go ahead.
I'm going to respectfully agree with you up to a point. The only thing that I see differently is that if WOTC was truly printing to demand, they wouldn't have to do Amazon stuff afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because they've overprinted, and that can happen in any business and stuff like that. But
Yeah,
what
but
I
look
worry
what-
about more than anything else, though, is this inflated. I'm going to call it an inflated player base, only because I feel like they're going to get burned out faster than we will. Older players are going to hang in there. We've complained about it from the beginning, ups and downs and stuff like that. But I see this influx of players, and then I don't want to see them get burned out, and then the game suffer after that. That's it. And all these complaints and so on are coming from a place of love, because I really love this game. I've been there since almost the beginning. I dipped in and out a little bit along the way, but that's my biggest fear, is inflating the player base, inflating the cards. All of these things are going to at some point lead to a collapse.
Well,
and that's dependent. So I agree with you that fear is extremely valid, but it's all dependent on how WOTC handles the upcoming months and years. They need to, so they need to. What we're coming out of the COVID period where we had no in-person play really nationwide, worldwide. And now we're starting to get in-person play again, and how WOTC handles the new standard that they are trying to create, and how they handle in-person tournaments, prize support, judging, things like that, all of those little factors, that's what's going to choose whether or not the players stick around. You're going to have the ones who come in short term. Like, there's a lot of people who are massive Lord of the Rings nuts, like myself, who literally came into Magic just because of the Lord of the Rings decks, because they want to play their favorite characters, right? So they bought the Lord of the Rings decks, and they're playing with Lord of the Rings, and they're not going to buy any more Magic product. They're here just for the Lord of the Rings. That's it. And then you got the Doctor Who fans coming in saying, hey, there's my stuff, and they buy that. So if WOTC continues releasing these Universes Beyond IPs that attract temporary players, it makes WOTC money, and it doesn't really affect the player base as a whole negatively or positively, because they're coming in, they're buying product, they're going home, they're playing.
Right. One thing I want to touch on that Tabat was talking about, because I think there's a flip side that's being ignored here, is Amazon dumps. Amazon dumps. They're overprinting. The Amazon dumps are dumping this product. They're overprinting, right? People are becoming conditioned to those Amazon dumps and buying those Amazon dumps out.
Yeah.
So okay, so hold on, just to touch on each of those 3 points there. Specifically, it's a dip, it's an ebb and a flow. My opinion that what we can complain about WOTC and what they can directly control is their release schedule. If we had an incline in spoiler season to announcement season, whatever, then release, and then we need to dip, we need to fall off before we get to Doctor Who or to the next set or to the next set. So what we're seeing right now is on a scale of 100, we're going up to 40%. We're going to dip down to 28%, and then we're going to push again to go up to 50% to dip down to 48% in that ride. So we're riding a high. We're consistently riding high, and there's no ebb and flow for allowing us to get these products into our hand, have the enjoyment for them, and then lose the enjoyment for them to be ready for the next set to be released. They are just shoving it down our throats so fast. But you know what else is really good to shove down our throats? Karn's Artopia.
Yeah, I was about to get to that. Right.
Nice.
Yep, because I have it right here. Boom. So we want to shout out KarnsArtopia.com, where you can get sweet dice bags, dice boxes, dice pets, dice ornaments. I keep saying dice ornaments, but it's because I like saying dice a lot. But little Magic Gathering ornaments, a lot of swag, a lot of cool looking swag, a lot of cool customable items, or you can get items customized for your brand yourself. Let's check it out. cardsotopia.com.
One more time. What was that website?
cardsotopia.com.
Yay!
You can find the that's right. You can find the link in the description or in chat.
So to finish what I was saying, yeah, it's a I think that we need a bit of a drop off before we need to, like, we're up here right now, and we've been up here like since I joined the game, which was in Lord of the Rings. I've been here, and it's just been on this steady plateau. I played Pokemon literally 2 weeks ago. The 151 set came out. The OG Pokemon came out, and I went, "Wee, let's do it!" And they already announced the next set. Two weeks later, I have not cracked a single pack of 151 yet. And what it's saturated to the point where it's like I just don't know what to buy anymore. I can't even follow the hype train, because the hype train is still on 2 sets before Lord of the Rings, and that's because I can only say Lord of the Rings because that's where I started.
Right.
Fair.
Can I say something? I mean,
yeah.
To me, I mean, I don't have any cards, but I've been listening to you guys. It seems like you all want to buy at the lowest price, and hopefully it will go up. I mean, you don't buy a card at $200. You know, you wait till it goes down, maybe, and then you buy it when it's low, and hopefully it'll go up again. You know, so everybody's trying to buy low. Nobody wants to buy high. You know, unless you need the cards.
Yeah.
You know, that's my thought. I mean, I'm not where you guys are at, but that's my thought.
Well,
I mean,
let me explain it. All right, let me explain why it's shocking our biasnesses on it, right? So, Commander for the last several years has been on a hype train. Before Commander really became the dominant, prominent format, we had Standard as the prominent format. And Standard rotated like every year, every 2 years, varying on which year Wizards decided not to mess with it. And so the cards in Standard format would be the high price cards that people wanted to buy. I mean, there were cards in older formats you really didn't care about unless you were in different formats like Legacy or Commander. So you watch this influx of cards spike up if they were seeing play in both Commander and Standard, right? Because people wanted those cards right at the moment because they're hot and fresh. And that's how Standard worked. It'd push up cards, and at the end, it'd kind of go down and fit in the price for Commander. Like, because Commander used to be the budget format. You know, it used to be the best budget format. But when Commander during C19 came in and became the prominent way to play, and everybody wanted those cards, the cards spiked up, and the cards went high in price, which was good because that showed you there was interest in those cards, especially certain cards that were considered staples and cards that were powerful for the format. They would go high. Then I think WOTC kind of noted that noted that if a card's worth more than $20, they're not doing their job right, which is kind of a BS slang. For they just want to print cards, but also WOTC tried to meet the demand to get these cards in the hands, so they weren't so dramatic. It's because since the Commander is now the evergreen format where it doesn't rotate, you're not going to see cards just drop or plummet at all when it comes to rotation,
unless a reprint happens.
Right, yes. Unless a reprint happens, and that's how they've been trying to control. That's how I feel that WOTC's been trying to control the price range for Commander is the reprint sets. The reprint sets, dropping the prices down to make cards more affordable, but also get more cards in hand. But see, there's a sweet spot when Commander became prevalent, when all these resellers during C19 just junk came in. These flippers came in, and the selling market just exploded. That we were talking about earlier, and because people realize there's value in their cards, and who knows, like I could have had like some expensive cards sitting in a box in my closet, and didn't realize they're expensive. Learned I could flip it. 100,000 people, for all I know, the big number just made up. 100,000 people could have been like, hey, let's do the same thing. Let's flip it. Let's start selling product. And when they get this money coming in, they're like, let's buy new product and flip that. And let's make a functional business out of this, even if it's from home. Just from home. Because that's where I'm seeing the real issue is the from home buyers. Because people who buy and sell from home who are not a legitimate business, WOTC doesn't see as a business. They see them as players. So there's a demand being met. Maybe it's a misunderstood demand on WOTC's end, but I'm pretty sure they know what they're doing. And that's why I'm saying let's not just put the whole focus on WOTC, being credible for the price drops in the market. There's a demand that's being met that's just really it's not really touched on, and it just grinds my gears. Not to
grinds my gears.
not
you know what really grinds my gears?
Yeah.
That's funny.
Right.
No,
go ahead.
You're right, Tortoise. And so you were touching on the Amazon dumps earlier, and here's where I see it happening. You're touching on the conditioning of the players where they're like, okay, I'm not going to buy from the LG. I'm going to wait and buy from the Amazon dump. Here's what's going to happen. You can mark it down if you want. See if I'm right. If I'm wrong, I'll say I'm wrong. WOTC is using the buying indicators to see how much to print, right? That if people buy more, they print more. If people buy less, they print less. Right. That's how it should be. So here's where you're going with it, I think, and correct me if I'm wrong. People are getting conditioned to this. What happens when everyone's waiting and no one's buying? Then WOTC prints less, and you can only get from one location, right? And then there's no Amazon dumps anymore. And now the product becomes more expensive, more valuable. Your singles hold value more because there's less printing. So this is a correctional
market.
This is a correctional period. This is, the stuff that's being put into these Amazon dumps is products that did not sell at the LG, did not sell on Wizards Amazon store. That's what these products are. That's plain and simple. They're not putting Phyrexia All Will Be One, the complete bundles on the Amazon dumps. They're not putting Lord of the Rings collectors boxes on the Amazon dumps. They're putting DMU set boxes and Crimson Vow and Brothers War, all the overprinted stuff. That's what's being Amazon dumped.
Right. And people are buying it.
And people are buying it at Amazon dump prices. Great. Good for them. I'm still happy that I bought mine when I bought mine.
Oh, yeah.
And so, the price was inflated comparatively, but I was happy then. I'm still happy with the cards I pulled. I'm still happy with what I have in my collection.
Hell yeah.
I don't give a crap that it's cheaper now.
Right.
The one thing that I'm hearing is I'm hearing all this that are all great points, but I'm having PTSD. I'm having flashbacks because I was there when Legends came out and then Fallen Empires right afterwards.
Yes.
I'm one of those people that got screwed because I saw the hype from Legends. I got a few boxes. I got packs and stuff. So I thought, oh, man, I'm going to get this Fallen Empires. The next set's coming out. I think they're finally worth something now. But I had like 10 boxes of Fallen Empires that I couldn't get rid of for 25 years. They were sitting in my closets through 2 marriages and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
So that's all on me. But I'm just saying, I'm hearing all this stuff, and I'm like, not again.
No, it's not. It's not on you, Tybalt. It's not. Yeah. Okay, so I'll tell you the history of what happened there if you want a little lesson here. So Alpha, Beta, 4 Horsemen sets, Wizards controlled allocation to a T. Like stores were telling them, we want 1,000 boxes And Wizards said, no, you get 10. No, you get 5. Fallen Empires, they said, screw it. We're going to open up allocation and we're going to show you what happens.
Mm-hmm.
And so they made Fallen Empires a wide open allocation. So however many boxes you wanted, they sent you that many. So these stores were saying, I want 10,000 boxes. Okay, here's 10,000 boxes. And the stores are the reason for that. The greed from the stores and the player base was the reason for the Fallen Empires stuff. It wasn't Wizards. It was Wizards finally rubbing it in their face, saying, you bitch about our allocation. We're going to show you what happens when we open it up. And then after that, they controlled allocation again, and nobody complained. That's literally what happened. That was WOTC giving the big middle finger to everybody being greedy, because they were also seeing booster packs of Legends for $25 a piece, while the store had 10 boxes in the back, and the store would put 3 packs out and sell them for $25 a piece. So that way they'd make back their money in 2 packs for the box, and then they'd just keep doing that kind of crap. They were controlling they were increasing their own profit margin, and so Wizards was basically saying, no, you're not going to do that to the players. We're not going to allow that. So you want to blame anybody? It's not WOTC in that case. That was WOTC just being
like I said, it was myself for seeing that and thinking that I was gonna get ahead quickly by flipping 10 boxes or 25 boxes, I think is what I initially bought. But yeah,
and that's that was the idea, the mindset at the time. I got by that, and I was a young kid. I was 12, and I started in beta. So I was 11 when beta came out, and I started playing at beta, and I got by that because I saved up $80 mowing lawns, hauling garbage, all sorts of stuff to go buy Legends, and I got screwed by a store who was being greedy, doing the same thing. So I was pissed at the store for that.
Right. But one thing I want to step back to is the Amazon dump thing and people being conditioned to buy it and how that's looking. Because you were saying people, if people are getting conditioned to it, why buy the product off the shelf when you can wait for Amazon dump? Which is exactly what people have said on Facebook. Like, I've seen people say that. It says, if you wait, you can buy it on the Amazon dump for less. Right? One thing, one example of something like this I seen was the live action rendition of The Little Mermaid.
Yes.
And
okay.
All right. And you might be thinking, how does that fit? And you'll see where it fits. They bombed in theaters. Right? The Little Mermaid bombed in theaters. Like, it didn't do well. And it didn't do great. But then it goes on Disney Plus and gets over millions of views. That's the same thing that might be happening.
Yeah.
Okay. On the same note with the Amazon dumps, they're actually a really good thing. There are a finite amount of cards printed, period, end of story, until reprints happen. And we complain about reprints. But when we have cards locked up on shelves in packs, there is a finite of cards now removed from the pool of play. Right. So if we start dumping those cards back into the pool of play or into the pool of collection, those prices can come down a little bit, which is positive for us players. Maybe a little bit negative for the collectors, but now you can maybe find your Ur-Dragon for $5 or $7 for the pack instead of, what is it, $67? I think I checked yesterday for that Ur-Dragon Canadian, which is stupid.
Yeah, that was Ur-Dragon needed a reprint, and so does Edgar Markov. The vampire commander from the same block of commander decks.
I found a jumbo Edgar Markov for $32 in a pawn shop.
You talking about the oversized card?
Wow.
Yeah. $32 for a jumbo Edgar Markov.
Wow.
And that's just ridiculous. That's where I was going back to. Like, if you were lucky enough to get those decks when they were like $30 a piece, yeah, great, good for you. But what about people now?
But
Do I have to pay $100 just because I wasn't around then, I wasn't playing then, or I didn't have the money then? Is that where the mindset has to be?
Unfortunately, that's what I've been getting eaten with this whole time. I'm like, oh, look, I can get that. Oh, you want Warhammer? It's one of my favorite IPs here. And I have to pay $135 for the cheapest Warhammer deck.
oh wow.
Right now.
135 Canadian, so that's what, like $10? No, I'm sorry.
Oh,
Yeah, it's true. It's true. It'd be about 115, 110 for you guys.
I can still find them at my Walmart for like 80 US, 60 to 80 US. So
Ship 'em down,
the
please.
regular Warhammer. Now the collector's edition, the all Surge foil decks. There was a company that just did a sale on those, and those were like 400 US for all 4 decks.
And one thing I was just thinking about that just crossed my mind, remember seeing and whatnot, that might affect the printing policies, is how a lot of collectors started teaching people how to collect magic on YouTube. Buy your boxes, keep them sealed. Buy your boxes, keep them sealed.
Yeah,
What if
just
Wizards was listening?
Well, they were.
You know,
Anybody who thinks that Wizards is not paying attention is deluding themselves, because Wizards is paying attention. That is they have teams of analysts who watch YouTube videos, who read emails, who read Reddit, read Twitter, and they are analyzing what the market wants.
That's why I finally got a tortoise card, because they were listening to me.
Exactly, but they didn't make it legendary. You didn't yell loud enough. So you can't use it as your commander. So there's going to be a legendary tortoise coming up soon that deals with lands that will make Blossoming Tortoise even better. It's happening.
Oh yeah. That'd be awesome.
Yep, then we'll see a tortoise deck around.
Yeah.
Well, I tried building a tortoise deck and I ended up having to tear it down. It was sad.
I wouldn't be surprised if it's in that what's it called, Bloombro or whatever.
Yeah.
Sorry,
you're talking about the kind of a fantasy set with the little animals where no humans are in there.
Yes, I would not be surprised if they do a tortoise and the hare in that set at some point. I would not be surprised if there's a tortoise, and a legendary tortoise, and a legendary rabbit.
Right. And and there's one thing I want to cover. Because last night there was a certain YouTuber who kept saying, I thought Magic the Gathering cards were just game pieces. And yes, they are game pieces. But let me tell you guys a fact. Who here plays board games?
I do.
I do. I mean, I think everybody has in the past at least once.
Who here plays like I put in quotes real board games, not like Monopoly, but I'm talking about like Stone Age. I'm talking about like Arkham Horror, Horrified, Castles of Burgundy,
Catan over here.
Right.
Yeah,
they come with game pieces, right? Some of them come with basic meeples. You can buy basic meeples for cheap. No, they're just game pieces. But you can go online and buy upgrades for these games to make them look fancy, like etched full cards, kind of fancy, and spend tons more money. Calling them Magic cards game pieces does not devalue the Magic card. That's just foolish and arrogant.
I agree. And they are both collectible and game pieces.
Yes.
Let's face it. That's what they are. They are baseball cards that you can play a game with.
Right. James Willis says Gloomhaven. He's been playing Gloomhaven with his friend on Saturdays, like once a month, and been loving it.
Gloomhaven, awesome.
Yeah, it is a fun game. We own 2 copies of one expansion on accident because we got one as a gift for one person, another as a gift from another person the same year. Now, One thing, I'm reading my notes because I think we covered about everything. Oh yeah, right here. Because one thing I wanted to cover is no one is complaining about the overpopulation of resellers here. You know, like we talked about the secondary market, like it's never changing, but it grew. Like we were talking about earlier. You know, when they talk about the oversaturation cards, they're not talking about no one's going out of the way saying, well, the secondary market, the amount of sellers are growing. You know.
Yeah, exactly. And like there's also the amount of like Twiddler, his games that Twiddler does, that's growing.
Yeah,
that has grown exponentially. There's
not
people doing
that.
pull games. There's pack openings. There's more and more of these. The access to Magic the Gathering has increased.
Oh, not only that, he got his idea of doing those games off of watching other people do it on Whatnot.
Yeah, and Whatnot was doing it. Yeah, that's where. Yeah. So that type of system is increasing. The type of game card accessibility has increased. Reselling through various means.
And there's the equipment that has now become more available. For example, what really got me started this past year with selling my cards on TCG Player is because I found out there was a TCG Player app that I could download that turns my phone into a scanner. And now instead of spending a month researching the value of the cards where the cards have changed again, I can just run through my phone and boom, that's more available and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Led to it.
Exactly.
Means you're part of the problem, Tybalt. No, I'm kidding.
Honestly, that's one thing that a lot of people complained about is, back in the day, it was so much easier to sell cards and everything. Well, yeah, because nobody had a scanner on their phone. It didn't exist.
Right.
10 years ago, 15 years ago, that technology wasn't there. So you had to rely on last month's Scry magazine to figure out your card values. And your card value could have changed massively. Or you went to trollandtoad.com or starcitygames.com and looked at what SCG was selling it at, or TNT was selling it at, or ABU. And that's how you figured out what your card value was. It wasn't. It wasn't like, you could just scan it with your phone, with your pocket computer.
Right. Yeah. Now, one thing
when I was in school, they said you won't have a calculator in your pocket.
Right.
Right.
Now you do. One thing I want to bring up is, as we're talking about all this, I think the one group of people that, and I mentioned this last night, one group of the base of Magic the Gathering that's being hindered the most is the local game store. Because if prices are dropping super low, it's becoming harder for them to sell product. It's becoming harder for them to sell singles. And I think the singles is where we should think about that when it comes to them. And that's because I think Wizards is evolving to more of an internet format.
So
should they be selling singles anyway?
If I can comment on that, Tortoise, that ties in perfectly with your number of resellers. So now you have TCG Player, you have hundreds of thousands or tens of thousands of quote unquote stores, which are people at home selling you singles. Why buy from the local game store when you can buy it cheaper from Joe Blow down the street?
Right.
You know what I mean? Why are you going to pay the the LGS, the inflated singles price, when you can get it cheaper somewhere else? And that's as the economy has expanded, it's constricting the local game stores. Now you have 70,000 sellers on TCG Player versus before it was just you had to go to your LGS. The options are opened, and that's why they're getting hurt so bad on that end. In my opinion.
No, it's part of the evolution of things, and it's becoming a dog market for the game stores.
Yeah,
and really quick. How are you doing, Hillbilly? You've been
doing pretty good. I'm just soaking all this information up.
Good.
So do you think the store will eventually stop selling the cards because there's no profit?
Well, I know for a fact one store in my area has stopped selling singles.
Yeah, their profit, their basic, which is, in my opinion, the wrong way to go about it. But
should stores be selling singles in the first place? Because that is not the way Wizards intended for their cards to be sold.
Well,
Wizards
they never
doesn't
intended the
sell
card to
singles.
be super valuable either.
Well, technically, Wizards does sell singles now with the advent of the Secret Lair. But so Wizards just basically took the LG's cue and took the people who used to do alt arts for cards. Like, you used to be able to send them off to people and they do an alt art painted on the card for you and send it back. Well, Wizards took that idea and took the selling singles idea, mashed it together, and you buy direct from them instead of buying the single at your local game store and then turning around and sending it off to an artist. So
it kind of sounds like they're trying to put the LGSs out of business.
I don't think that's the case. I think they're not trying to put them out of business, but they're trying to put things back more into where it was in the 90s.
In their hands.
In their hands, exactly. Wizards holding control over the market, holding control over the product flow, and getting it directed that way rather than the explosion that we saw in, RTR, for example. That's one I like to bring up because that was another open allocation set, just like Fallen Empires. And here we are 10 years later, you can buy a box of RTR for $130, $120 in some cases. That product the other sets that were printed around the same time period are $700, $800 a box. Like Innistrad is like $700 a box, but RTR is $130 because open allocation. People bought the heck out of it, put it in their closet, had cases of it sitting in their closet.
Right.
So I think Wizards is, they're not trying to put the LGS out of business, but they're trying to adapt things back to the 90s or devolve, however you want to put it, but mixing in the modern tech.
Right. And one thing we should not forget about too right now, we're kind of in the middle of a recession. Things are hard economically around, so things are going to seem out of place right now anyways, price wise and whatnot. But
and another thing to keep in mind, don't compare your collection's values to what they were during COVID. Don't compare it to that, because that was an unnatural blip in the market. That was an unnatural bubble. We are returning to a more natural state right now. So
other than buying product, Wizard really wants you to play the game.
Yes.
Some at Wizards wants you to play the game. I think they just want you to buy the product at bare minimum.
Well, buy product and the integration of the physical card playing with digital that they're talking about doing with Arena and local tournaments and stuff. I think that really shows where their direction is going to be.
This really started raining here. All right. Hold on a second. We're gonna go 3, 2, 1.
Awesome. Now that we're in open forum, super fast, real quick, I've been wanting to ask, how's the coffee today, man?
Dude, it's so good it's gone.
Damn.
Wow.
No.
That's right.
Like, I just finished the last cup right there. It was so delicious. It was nice, warm, hot, chocolatey. Ooh. Man. Wow. That was a fire conversation.
I want to just end, or one of the last things that I wanted to bring up was that also with the discussion today and the other day, I was watching the stream too, even though I couldn't join in and stuff, but we talked about complaining about things and stuff. I think these are discussions again that are coming from a place of love because we all care about the game so much.
Mm-hmm.
And when we worry about these things, about the cards, the value, the gameplay, all of that stuff, it all comes from the fact that we are all, speaking for everybody now, but I'm saying we're all so invested in the game because we enjoy it so much, and because for me it's brought me some of the best friends that I've made in my lifetime, and I expect to continue that going forward and stuff. So it's not just about running down the company or running down the game or anything else like that. It comes from the fact that I really enjoy this, and I've made new friends online and in person because of this, and I make those every week when I go to the local game store. I'm lucky enough to have a couple of different game stores near me that I can go play on a regular basis, and I've been trying more to meet more people online. And so again, these aren't complaints specifically against the game. They're because we love the game so much.
Yeah, we love it.
Hey, Tybot. Hey, Robert. Nice to meet you. It was a great conversation. I'm glad that we're friends now.
Likewise. Likewise.
Friends.
Yeah.
Because friends are friends forever.
Yeah, I'm just, what do they call it? Observer. I'm probably the only one here who doesn't play Magic on a regular basis. So I do play Arena Online. The entry level one.
You're still a Magic player to us.
Yeah.
So
it's never mattered to me if you're an elite, if you're top end, or if you're a brand new player. You play Magic, you're a Magic player. That's it.
Played Magic once, I can guarantee it.
If he's played it once, he's a Magic player. You're done. That's it. Koji dude, you've got it attached to you from now on.
Right.
Yeah, that's great. It's a great community.
It's good that you have that outsider opinion of thought process, because sometimes you ask a question and say something. What was that?
That wasn't me.
What was that?
Don't know.
I don't know. Somebody's having fun though.
My hands are on this.
Yeah. But yeah. So, your outsider opinion does work.
I agree. And you ask relevant questions.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, well, I try, to follow in the community, and then I have my thoughts about you guys, and since I don't have any other, what do they call it, stuff coming in my head, because I don't have all that stuff from what you guys do, I have a clear thought process. I think the game is what you guys love, and this other stuff is just side stuff. So you play the game because you love playing the game. You collect because it's just part of that process, but that's not the main reason you have the cards, is to sell them. I mean, there are, like you said, there are people who just don't play the game, but they just buy and sell cards, maybe. So anyway, thank you. I really appreciate your support.
Yes, sir.
Yep. No problem, Daddy-O's. No problem at all. Because sometimes that question you have is relevant more than you think about it. Or sometimes, having to explain something to you makes it easier for us to understand what the chat's wanting to know too. Because not everybody plays Magic either. And sometimes we get so wrapped up in a conversation that something you might ask probably needs to be explained so people can catch up.
That's right. That's right.
So that's a buffer that works.
Yep.
That's my ears burning.
All right, Hillbilly.
Yeah.
You want to say anything? You want to say hello? You want to do anything?
I find this to be very, interesting. This topic here. I mean, yeah, we should play WOTC.
I'm still in.
They're in it for the money. And they got to make the money to make
Okay.
new cards.
We still have.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Sorry for
they
cutting you
do,
off.
and and to one last viewpoint I have. Hold on, let me get in my truck real quick. There's too many traffic coming around here. It's getting noisy. A lot of people are complaining that Wizards is raising the prices and all that for the sealed product, right?
Right.
I don't see people complaining about the price of milk going up.
Nope.
Or the price of eggs, and the dairy farmers, the egg companies, the chicken companies, they still need to make their money. They're making more on their bottom end too. So
Well,
everybody's doing it.
Think about this: when the price of eggs shot up to like $12 a 12-pack or whatever,
Yeah,
a dozen, people were complaining.
Wait, what?
But they were
$12 a carton?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Here in America, we had that.
$4 a carton for eggs.
Yeah.
For 12.
That's how big they got. That's how expensive they
That's
got.
how expensive. You're right.
How much is your milk?
It's like $4 or $5 a gallon.
Yeah.
Gallon.
Yeah, and I don't see
gallon
people,
is 2.
if you want to draw a correlation, everything is going up. Milk is going up. Gas is going up. Eggs are going up. Bread is going up. Everything is going up. Everybody's raising their rates and have been since COVID. Even though operations have cleared up, the rates are still high because they can make more money on it.
Oh, we got good news in California. They're dropping our gas $1 a gallon next week.
Oh, I'm moving to California. Oh wait, no, that will still be $6 a gallon.
You don't want to be here.
Yeah, it's still the highest price in the world, but but we're used to paying $5 a gallon. Now we're paying $4 a gallon. We're back where you guys are. Well, I know for a fact that
I'm at $3.20 a gallon.
Yeah, but that's Canadian, right?
No, that's American.
American.
That's about how much gas is here lately. It's like $3.40 a gallon.
Yeah, I'm paying.
Yeah, see, that's good. That's $2, $3 less than we're paying.
Right.
Almost $4 here.
Yeah, so it's about that. So yeah, like that's that. I think that's like the national average. I think California just likes to charge you an arm and a leg.
Well, at one point they had there's one town in California that's charging $13 a gallon.
Here, sweet man! I need to go move over there and open up some stores. Holy crap!
Right?
Yeah. Right.
Jeez.
Yeah. So, I mean, that was just one town only. I mean, it's more expensive in the South than it is here for some reason. And we're more expensive. It's all varied. It's not the same anywhere. But up here where I live, it's right now it's $5.99 a gallon of gas, but it's going to drop $1 next week. So that's $4.99.
The conversions here, we're paying $4.60 a gallon up here, and that's the cheapest rate. It's probably a little higher than that right now. It's $1.60 a liter.
Yeah. That's a lot.
Yeah, because you're in non-freedom units over there.
Yeah.
It's $6.40 a gallon right now for normal gas, and where I get my gas at $1 is cheaper. It's $6.40 a gallon.
Okay,
right
I'm gonna be moving to Canada next.
Yeah.
Set up some stores up there.
Yeah. But I drive to Nevada to buy my gas because it's $1.50 cheaper.
Yeah,
so
because they don't have the insane environmental taxes that
Right.
California has, the ISD taxes.
They're trying to push a lot of stupid stuff. Hopefully, they just come up with some of the people in the assembly. They just come up with stupid stuff, like they wanted to charge how many miles you get taxed on how many miles you drive.
Yep.
Because they're trying to cut.
California is like California's
What's
like
that?
its own country.
Yeah, it is its own country, pretty much.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it kind of leads the way for what the rest of the country does.
Are you
You
in
know?
NorCal, Koji dude?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, okay. That
Yeah,
explains it.
I'm up in, I
It's
don't
up
know,
in the
I'm in NorCal, but I'm kind of in the mountains.
In the mountains. Yeah, my aunt lives over in Redding.
Yeah, so I'm about
So
200 miles from Redding.
200 from, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm in a little tiny town, population 1,200, and declining. You know, we got one stoplight. You know, so Jerry.
Sounds like heaven to me. Jeez.
Oh, I love it up here. I mean, it's
I'm a
beautiful.
small town guy, so
Yeah.
My town does not have a stoplight. It has a 4-way flashing red, so just slow down.
Well, we used to have that.
Right.
Yep.
All right.
We used to have that. Wow.
My city, we got one light. It seems like it takes 24 hours just to change.
I got one thing to say about California's tax laws.
Armageddon! Annihilation!
I agree, Tortoise. They are extreme, to say the least.
Yeah, extreme. Yep.
Yeah.
But
Right.
I do love living here.
I gotta wrap up the show. I gotta get some stuff done today at home. You know where I live, right here.
Yeah, I gotta get off and go back to work.
Oh,
that sucks.
Falling sick today. Yeah, you worked 11 days, 18 hours. You can afford to take a day off.
I'm on my 12th straight day right now, so.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and it looks like
Good luck, buddy.
New Mexico, if it's not bright and sunny in my area, everything breaks down, so I have to be the one to fix it. So, yeah.
We lived in New Mexico, super fast, and I lived in New Mexico back in the 80s.
Yeah,
that's where you were born, huh?
Yeah, I was born in Alamogordo.
Yep, you sure were.
I was born in Fat Lady, New Mexico.
Fat Lady,
that's right, Alamagugu.
Yeah. All right, everybody. I want to thank you guys for stopping by and having fun. Thank you, Hillbilly.
Peace.
Thank you, Robert.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Salmonella. Thank you, DePaul. Thank you, Cookie Dude. You guys have a wonderful day. Rock on.
Shockwave! What is your command, Megatron?
Subscribe for Magic the Gathering and other content for evil fun.
Fear not.